Hello retro gamers, this is my most favourite Dreamcast title. It's my go-to. Fantastic arcade sports action with Virtua Tennis, featuring players of the period, and the player the low I always chose was Tim Henman. Come on, Tiger Tim. And first discovered this game playing at Chroma Pier on a Sega Naomi cab, so the arcade machine, with the original version of this called Power Smash in Japan. And I wanted to recreate those memories. And here is a Sega Naomi. This is the motherboard, and this is all the guts, which would have gone in the arcade cabinet. And danger of explosion. Blimey. Okay, explosive stuff. So I picked this up maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, and this is Power Stone, which is a Capcom title. And here is the I.O., a Capcom I.O. board, so it kind of translates the inputs and outputs into a jammer form here, so you can hook into the standard sort of arcade controls. Going into arcade PCBs is a whole world of pain and discovery. But what's interesting, and I'm not expert in these things, but if you read a lot, you can probably start to understand things. What's interesting is that in Naomi world, games come on cartridges. They can come on disc, and then you'll have an interface which then plugs into a GD-ROM drive, which is very similar to the Dreamcast, and that would require more leads and more wires and more chaos. But as you can see, these are cartridges. And we have an array of I.O. here and various intimidating looking outputs. There's a power switch 1 and 2. This is like the service and test buttons. So you can press these and it brings up various settings that you can cycle through. Dip switches. Ooh, must check what those are. This is actually not your sort of traditional USB. This is for data interface and interchange, so I think it's primarily for control input, and you can see there's the USB, the fat USB end there, and that connects into here to this board. I think you can plug in controllers here, different forms of controllers. You've got the unamplified audio here, VGA out, which makes this easy to play at home, and we've got the power leads here, and there's various other things which I'm not too sure about. But obviously, if I wanted to recreate the home experience, I've got to somehow get this onto a TV screen. So wouldn't just a Dreamcast controller and this just suffice? Well, no, because why do that when you can have this? So here is another Naomi board, and I'm not sure whether this was actually taken off the original Naomi cabinet. This is how I bought it many years ago, and I've really struggled to play this on a home setup. So we have absolute chaos going on here. So the board is currently being powered by a very nasty Amazon power supply, which I will swap out for a Corsair or something more substantial and reliable. I've got a custom, kind person wired up this kind of ATX power supply to conversion kit for me, which is fantastic. And we can see we've got a VGA lead in there. Remember the days of VGA? I've got my phono set up, and here is that USB lead. And where does this chaos and this is how I run my mess. Here's the OSCC, and it's kind of precariously perched here because I'm trying to stretch various leads to reach. We've got the audio in here. There's the VGA. By the way, do check out the OSCC videos on the internet, and I've done one as well. This is the Kaiko one, and I think this is a really cool bit of kit. Yeah, we've got the VGA and audio going in here. So let me power cycle all this, and you can see the Naomi fire up. And actually, I've just missed something quite crucial. How do you connect a controller, and why have I got it perched on boxes of Commodore 64 tapes? I'm just going through these are don't ask. This is an I.O. board, so I've got this off AliExpress, and this clever bit of work. You saw a silver case earlier, like this big block. This fantastic little board converts the input output into a form that's compatible with modern controllers, USB controllers. So I've got my USB Xbox One controller connected in here, and you've got a second one if you want 2-player. It's got 2 switches here for service and test, which is used on arcade cabs. Here's that big fat USB connection coming in here, so the data for the controls is going into the motherboard. And here's power, so this is the USB-C power. So you need this, and this is what's made, finally, after 4 or 5 years of wanting to play this at home, and I've been keeping it stored for a long time. This has actually been the first time that I've been able to do Naomi. And I love that. I prefer that to the Dreamcast. And you can see here, that's just syncing. Hopefully it's going to do its magic. The arcade board is now in the boot mode. There it is, 15K, I think is the sync speed for the display. Don't quote me on this, I'm not truly expert. Oh look, you can see my Amigas and things in the background. Here we go. Credits. Arcade at home. The arcade version, telling you how to play. It's phenomenal. And to add credits, you press the start button. No, the start button, sorry, starts the game. I think select credits. I can't tell you, let me turn the volume down, how much that means to me to be able to play. And then the D-pad here, because I think it would have been a joystick, helps me cycle through the selection. And of course it's timed me out because, you know, you're supposed to make a selection, but I've got 24 credits. 24 quid that would have cost in the day. But it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then here as well I can access the test settings. So I've pressed the test button, and that just mimics the test button that's on the motherboard itself. And here we've got all the various settings that we can go through, which is the stuff that you never see on the arcade machine. So JVS test, this shows me that I've got that I/O board, so it's called an MP07-IONA, and that's what this board is called. So it's identified itself, and that's what's made the magic work at home for me. So I'm absolutely delighted with this board. Fantastic bit of kit. I think there's a later firmware revision. Yeah, if I go out here, exit, what's really interesting, if I go into game test mode, okay, and this is the bit that you know goes on arcade boards, but you never see, is where you set difficulty and so on. So game assignments, look at this. So here, this is where the you know, the arcade owners could start ripping you off. So you can make it very hard. Match count, I guess that's how many what do you call it, sets, no, games per set. So yeah, 1 or 2, and then versus mode, yeah, juice. Interesting that you can turn juice off. Very interesting. Tournament mode, I'm gonna have to Google what tournament mode is. And billboard, what is bill? Fascinating. Anyway, tournament mode on and off, exit. So that's interesting. What have we got? Have we got any data in here? Oh, play data, bookkeeping. I wonder how this is stored, if it's stored on the, if it's battery backed. Oh wow, time histogram. Yeah, all this stuff to judge whether, oh wow, who chooses which character. Amazing stuff. So bookkeeping. So all the little secrets behind the arcade machine. So yeah, really happy to have this set up. Hope this was vaguely interesting to anybody. I'll probably look to do a comparison with the Dreamcast version, because I don't think there's much done between Naomi games and Dreamcast conversions. But there we go. Happy days. Cheers.